The massive crystalline dome of the Galactic Council chamber glowed with the light of 1,000 distant suns. Representative Janice Monroe stood alone on the circular platform, the first human ever to address the highest authority in known space. 500 alien representatives watched from tiered seating that spiraled upward into darkness, their murmurs creating a constant hum of judgment. Before her, the tribunal of 7 sat on elevated thrones of polished obsidian. Their forms varied wildly, some with multiple limbs, others with translucent skin revealing pulsing organs, and one appearing as little more than a shimmering cloud contained within a hovering apparatus. "The charges against Earth are serious," rumbled High Counselor Vexisthar, his 4 eyes narrowing beneath a heavy ridge of armored scales. "Unauthorized weapons development, genetic tampering, and deliberate concealment of planetary capabilities." Holographic evidence materialized in the air between them. Images of Earth's rapidly advancing technology, learning curves that showed exponential growth unlike any species encountered in the Council's 10,000-year history, and classified reports of human conflict resolution tactics that baffled alien psychologists. Humans achieved faster than light, travel merely 70 years after discovering nuclear fission, stated Counselor Drilax, her insectoid mandibles clicking with clear disapproval. "Such acceleration defies established evolutionary patterns. We recommend immediate quarantine of Sol system and classified designation of all humans as Level 4 threats." The chamber erupted in approving chittering and hums. Even the diplomatic representatives who had initially welcomed Earth's delegation were nodding in agreement. Janice laughed. The sound cut through the noise like a blade, and sudden silence fell. Every alien eye, sensory appendage, and perception organ focused on the small human female standing defiantly before them. "With respect, counselors," she said, stepping forward without permission, "you've made a critical error in your assessment." Guards with ceremonial energy spears tensed around the perimeter, but High Counselor Vexithar raised a hand to hold them back, curiosity temporarily overriding protocol. Janice tapped her wrist device, and suddenly the chamber's security grid flickered. Every alien representative froze as their personal shields and translation devices deactivated simultaneously. The chamber's artificial gravity fluctuated momentarily. "I didn't hack your systems," Janice explained calmly. "I simply asked them nicely. Your quantum AI recognized logical fallacies in your security architecture that you've overlooked for centuries." The room erupted in panicked whispers. Several delegates rose to leave only to find the exit portal sealed. "This is precisely why you fear us," she continued, voice echoing through the vast chamber. "Humans don't follow your expected patterns. We're not more intelligent, we're differently intelligent. And rather than quarantine us, you should be partnering with us." The High Counselor's voice boomed. "This demonstration only proves our point. Guards, restrain the Earthborn." "I've already restored your systems," Janice said, raising empty hands as the guards approached. "Consider this a demonstration of good faith. We could have done far worse." The guards hesitated, looking to their leaders for guidance. Vexthar leaned forward, massive clawed hands gripping his throne. "What is it you want, Earthborn?" "Equal standing, knowledge exchange, and admission to your Galactic Academy for our brightest minds." The council chamber erupted again, but this time Drilax raised all 4 of her upper limbs for silence. "And if we refuse?" Janice smiled. "Then we'll continue advancing on our own without your guidance or oversight." "Is that really what you want? A species you consider dangerous developing without your influence?" The 7 conferred among themselves, communicating in ways humans couldn't perceive. Finally, Vexithar addressed the chamber. "The council will deliberate. This session is adjourned." 6 months later, Cadet First Class Ilara Jackson felt the stairs as she navigated the towering atrium of the Galactic Academy. The gleaming structure of living metal and crystalline composites housed the brightest minds from 1,000 worlds. Whispers followed her like shadows. Earth primate. Barely achieved spaceflight. Primitive genetics. Ilara kept her eyes forward, spine straight, pretending not to hear. As the first human admitted to the elite tactical division, she couldn't afford to show weakness. 3 years of rigorous testing had earned her this position. Despite the diplomatic tension still simmering after Representative Monroe's controversial council appearance, the Academy itself was a marvel, a massive station orbiting a neutron star, harvesting its energy while serving as the intellectual center of galactic civilization. 20,000 students from across known space trained here in everything from xenobiology to quantum mechanics to interstellar diplomacy, and most of them seemed to resent her presence. Commander Traslar, her xenobiology instructor, loomed over the semicircular classroom. His elongated form, covered in iridescent scales, towered nearly 3 meters tall. His species, the Druathi, were known for their photographic memories and merciless teaching methods. "Today we begin practical scan analysis," he announced, gesturing to the platform at the room's center. Each species carries unique biosignatures that inform tactical approaches. Understanding these signatures is crucial for security protocols, medical intervention, and battlefield assessment. One by one, cadets of various species stepped onto the platform. The scanner hummed, displaying detailed biological information on the classroom's main screen. Zentari, oxygen-nitrogen breather, quad-chambered circulatory system. Stress response, enhanced cognitive function. Volrathi, methane-tolerant, dual-phase digestive process. Stress response, increased muscle density. When Alara's turn came, she stepped onto the platform. The scanner hummed, then blared with sudden intensity. Red lights flashed throughout the laboratory. The standard display vanished, replaced by pulsing crimson text. Error, classification override, Earthborn, handle with care. The room fell silent. Cadets who had been snickering now stared in shock. Commander Traslar's upper limbs froze mid-gesture. "Security Protocol Delta 9 activated," announced the system. Transparent barriers slammed down around Alara, trapping her on the platform. "What's happening?" she demanded as armored security officers materialized at every entrance. Traslar's voice was barely audible through the barrier. "Impossible. The system has classified you as an Omega-level threat species. The last time that happened..." He didn't finish the sentence. The security chief, a bulky four-armed Crixian, strode forward, neural disruptor drawn. "Cadet Jackson, by order of the Galactic Council, you are hereby placed under special observation. Please do not resist. On what grounds?" Alara demanded, heart pounding. "I've done nothing wrong." "The ground," came a new voice from the laboratory entrance, "are embedded in your very DNA." The cadets parted as Academy Director Pelvorax entered. His ancient, gaunt form moved with surprising grace for a being rumored to be over 700 years old. "Bring up the scan details," he ordered. The screen flickered, displaying information that made even the veteran security officer step back. "Adaptive neural pathways," the director read aloud. "Unique genetic repair mechanisms. Heightened fight-or-flight response with adrenaline output exceeding safety parameters. And most concerning," he paused, looking directly at Alara, "potential psionic capability currently dormant." "That's ridiculous," Alara protested. "Humans don't have psychic abilities." "Not yet," said the director. "But according to these scans, you could. The potential is there, waiting to be awakened." He turned to the security chief. "Transfer Cadet Jackson to Observation Wing Delta. Full monitoring, restricted access." As the barriers lifted and security moved to escort her, Alara caught the eyes of her fellow cadets. Where before she had seen contempt and ridicule, now she saw something much worse. The scanner blazed. "Earthborn, handle with care. Part 2. Part 2. The Observation Wing Delta curved along the outer ring of the Academy, its transparent walls offering an unobstructed view of the neutron star's pulsing energy, being harvested by massive collectors. For 3 days, Alara had been confined to this gilded prison, subjected to endless scans and tests, while teams of xenobiologists and security specialists observed from behind one-way glass. Admiral Koros, head of Academy Security, paced before the assembled team of specialists. His humanoid form was deceptive. His species, the Ardari, possessed enhanced neural processing that made them ideal for security roles. "The Council demands answers," he stated flatly. "How did we miss this?" Humans were evaluated extensively before being granted Academy admission. Director Pelvorax manipulated the holographic display showing Alara's biological scans. The initial assessment focused on technological capabilities and observable traits. "We never performed deep genetic analysis because humans appeared unremarkable." "Unremarkable," scoffed Dr. Mila Renzi, the only other human present. As Earth's leading xenobiologist and liaison to the Academy, she had been summoned immediately after Alara's classification. That's been humanity's greatest advantage. We've been underestimated at every turn. You knew about these capabilities? Koros demanded. No, Renzi admitted. But I'm not surprised. Earth evolved with over 8,000 predatory species. Our bodies and minds adapted to survive against overwhelming odds. What you're seeing is the result of millions of years of evolutionary pressure. Behind the glass, Ilara sat cross-legged on her bed, pretending to read a data tablet while actually straining to hear the muffled conversation. The room's surveillance was obvious. Sensors embedded in every surface, even the environmental controls monitoring her breathing patterns and stress levels. She knew her situation was precarious. Whatever the scan had revealed had frightened the Academy leadership, and frightened people rarely made rational decisions. The most concerning element, Pelvorax was saying, is the dormant psionic capability. No species has developed true telepathy without catastrophic consequences. The Mindari nearly destroyed themselves. The Telvari became so disconnected from physical reality they ceased to reproduce. Humans don't have telepathy, Renzi insisted. There's been no verified evidence? Yet, interrupted Koros. The potential is there according to your own student's scan. The question is whether it's an immediate threat or a long-term concern. The door to the observation room slid open, and Commander Traslar entered, followed by a small delegation of Academy instructors. Their expressions ranged from curious to openly hostile. The cadets are demanding information, Traslar announced. Rumors are spreading throughout the Academy. Some claim humans are engineered bioweapons. Others believe they're evolved predators that hunt telepathic species. Ridiculous, Renzi muttered. Fear breeds fantasy, said Pelvorax. We need a solution that addresses both security concerns and educational integrity. Behind the glass, Ilara made a decision. Setting down her tablet, she walked to the center of the room and looked directly at what she assumed was a camera. I know you're watching, she said clearly, and I know you're afraid, but keeping me locked up only proves you don't understand humans at all. In the observation room, the monitors displaying her vital signs showed no elevation in stress markers, a calm that unnerved the security team more than anger would have. Interesting approach, murmured Pelvorax. I'm proposing a deal, Ilara continued. Let me continue my education under whatever monitoring you deem necessary. In exchange, I'll voluntarily participate in research to understand human capabilities. Knowledge is what you seek, isn't it? Not imprisonment. The observation team exchanged glances. She makes a valid point, Renzi said. Studying her under duress will yield limited results. Cooperation would benefit everyone, or it could be manipulation, countered Koros. If humans possess even partial empathic abilities, she could be sensing our concerns and crafting her response accordingly. Now you're being paranoid, Renzi snapped. Perhaps, said Pelvorax thoughtfully, but there may be merit to both perspectives. He turned to the assembled team. I propose a controlled reintegration. Cadet Jackson returns to limited classes under supervision. We establish a research program with Dr. Renzi's oversight, and we implement new protocols for human students going forward. The debate continued for hours with Ilara waiting patiently in her room. Finally, the door slid open and Director Pelvorax entered alone, his ancient eyes studying her with calculation and something else. Curiosity. Your proposal has been accepted. With conditions, he said without preamble. You will resume classes tomorrow. You will wear a neural monitor at all times. You will report for testing 3 times weekly. Any violation results in immediate expulsion from the Academy. Understood. Ilara replied evenly. Thank you, Director. Don't thank me yet, Cadet. He moved closer, lowering his voice. The Council is watching this experiment closely. Many wanted Earth quarantined after your representative's demonstration 6 months ago. Your success or failure here will impact your entire species. The weight of that responsibility settled on her shoulders. No pressure then. Indeed. His expression remained unreadable. One more thing. Your personal effects were scanned during your detainment. We found this. He held up a small metal pendant, a simple earth trinket her mother had given her before departure. It contains trace elements not found in your biological scan. Explain. Ilara frowned. It's just a necklace. A family heirloom. Its composition includes metals unknown in Council records. That's impossible. It's from Earth, just silver and— Not silver, Pelvorax interrupted. Something else. Something your people may have encountered without recognizing its significance. He returned the pendant to her. Wear it during your tests. I'm curious to see if it affects the results. After he left, Ilara examined the necklace carefully. It looked ordinary. A simple oval pendant with a subtle pattern her mother had called ancient Celtic. She'd never questioned its composition. The next morning, Ilara returned to class wearing the required neural monitor, a thin band around her wrist that occasionally emitted a soft blue pulse. The whispers and stares had intensified but now carried a different quality. Not mockery, but wariness. Commander Traslar nodded stiffly as she entered the laboratory. Cadet Jackson, take your assigned station. Her usual lab partners had been reassigned. She now worked alone at a station ringed with nearly invisible security fields. Today's exercise, Traslar announced, focuses on xenobiological defense mechanisms. Each team will analyze potential countermeasures for various biological threats. The assignment appeared on her screen. Analyze effective countermeasures against human biological capabilities. Ilara looked up sharply. Sir, this assignment is appropriate given recent events. Traslar cut her off. The class will benefit from your insights. She realized with growing unease that the entire class was essentially being tasked with finding ways to neutralize humans. Looking around the room, she caught the eye of Davin, a Zentari cadet who had always been civil to her. He quickly looked away. As she began working, Ilara noticed something strange. The pendant against her chest felt warm, and the neural monitor on her wrist occasionally flickered with unexpected patterns. And strangest of all, she could sense the emotions around her with unexpected clarity. Fear, curiosity, hostility, fascination. The feelings weren't her own. When she glanced up again, Davin was watching her with obvious concern, and somehow without words she knew exactly what he was thinking. The Academy's massive library dome stretched 5 stories high, its curved walls lined with data crystals containing knowledge from across the galaxy. Normally bustling with students, today it stood nearly empty, except for a small group huddled at a corner table. Ilara sat surrounded by 3 cadets, the only ones still willing to associate with her after 2 weeks of controlled reintegration. The readings make no sense, whispered Talon, a bird like Avis whose feathered crest flattened in frustration. Human biology shouldn't interact with psionic fields this way. Davin, the Zentari who had warned Ilara in class, spread his 6-fingered hands over the scattered data tablets. Yet the evidence is undeniable. Something changed after your confinement. Ilara, your neural patterns are fluctuating in ways consistent with emerging psionic awareness. The 3rd cadet, Fox, belonged to a gaseous species that maintained physical form through a containment suit. The suit's vocal emitter produced a melodic tone. The question remains, is this natural human development or external influence? Ilara touched the pendant beneath her uniform. Since that day in Traslar's class, she had experienced moments of startling awareness, brief flashes where others' thoughts became as clear as spoken words. The episodes were unpredictable and left her with pounding headaches. I need to know more about this, she said, holding up the pendant. The director seemed very interested in its composition. I could analyze it in the materials lab, offered Talon. My access codes still work for basic equipment. Too risky, Davin countered. Everything you do is being monitored, but I might know someone who can help discreetly. He lowered his voice further. There's a maintenance worker, Joro. He was a xenomaterialist before an academic scandal cost him his credentials. He still has knowledge, if not status. Can we trust him? Ilara asked. More than the Academy administration right now, Davin replied grimly. Their hushed conversation was interrupted by a library announcement. All cadets report to the Central Amphitheater for an emergency assembly. Attendance is mandatory. The 4 exchanged concerned glances before gathering their materials. The Central Amphitheater could accommodate the entire Academy population of 20,000. Today it was filled to capacity, with security personnel stationed at every entrance. On the central stage, Director Pelvorak stood alongside Admiral Koros and the full Academy board. An incident has occurred, Pelvorak announced without preamble. Last night, the Quantum Communications Hub was accessed illegally. Restricted transmissions were sent to the Sol system, to Earth. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Ilara felt eyes turning toward her. Security footage identifies the perpetrator as a human, Koros stated, his voice carrying accusation. Dr. Mila Renzi has been detained for questioning. Ilara's blood ran cold. Dr. Renzi had been her strongest advocate. Until this matter is resolved, all human personnel are restricted to quarters except for authorized activities, continued Koros. Additionally, the Council has temporarily suspended new Earth admissions to the HFY Academy. Outrage and fear battled within. Ilara, this had to be a setup. Dr. Renzi would never compromise her position or Earth standing. Someone wanted humans removed from the Academy. As the assembly dismissed, security officers approached Ilara. Cadet Jackson, you will come with us. The director wishes to speak with you privately. Her friends watched helplessly as she was escorted away. Vox's containment suit pulsed with concerned colors, while Davin and Talon exchanged worried glances. The director's office occupied the highest point of the academy, offering a panoramic view of surrounding space. Pelvorak stood gazing at the neutron star when Ilara was brought in. "Leave us," he told the guards, waiting until they departed before turning to face her. "Your neural monitor recorded an interesting spike during the announcement, Cadet. Care to explain?" "I was shocked by the accusations against Dr. Renzi," Ilara replied carefully. "She wouldn't betray Earth's position that way." "Perhaps," Pelvorak said, moving to his desk. "Or perhaps humans are more coordinated than we realized." The transmitted data contained classified information about human biological potential, specifically, the very capabilities your scan revealed. "That makes no sense," Ilara argued. "Why would Earth need stolen information about humans?" "To confirm what they suspected but couldn't prove without our advanced technology." He activated a holographic display showing complex molecular structures. "Your pendant, Cadet. We've completed a thorough analysis. The metal isn't terrestrial in origin." Ilara stared at the display. "That's impossible. It's a family heirloom passed down for generations." "Yes, which raises fascinating questions." Pelvorax manipulated the display, expanding one section. "This alloy bears striking similarities to precursor technologies." The term sent a chill through Ilara. Everyone at the Academy knew of the precursors, an ancient civilization that had allegedly seeded the galaxy with life before mysteriously vanishing eons ago. Most considered them mythological, though artifacts occasionally surfaced. "You're suggesting my family heirloom is alien technology?" "I'm suggesting," Pelvorak said carefully, "that humans may have had contact with advanced species long before official first contact. This pendant appears designed to interact with specific neural patterns that your species possesses." Ilara's mind raced. "The psionic potential in the scan?" "Exactly. The pendant doesn't create abilities, it amplifies what's already there." He fixed her with an intense stare. "Did you know what it was capable of?" "No, I had no idea. It was just a necklace from my mother." "And did your mother explain its origins?" "She said it was passed down through women in our family for protection." Ilara hesitated. "She mentioned a family legend about it being a gift from star visitors centuries ago, but I thought it was just a story." Pelvorax's expression remained unreadable. "Stories often contain fragments of truth. The question now is whether Earth has been deliberately cultivating these abilities, perhaps with other precursor artifacts." "That's absurd," Ilara protested. "If humans had access to advanced technology, why would our development have been so slow and painful? We nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times." "Perhaps that was the point," Pelvorak suggested. "Evolution through conflict. The strongest survive." He deactivated the display. "Regardless, the Council is concerned. Some members are calling for your immediate removal and a full investigation of Earth. Based on a necklace and a transmission that could easily have been fabricated to frame Dr. Renzi." Ilara's frustration boiled over. "This feels like a deliberate attempt to push humans out of the Academy." "Your perception isn't entirely wrong," Pelvorax admitted, surprising her. "There are factions who believe humans represent a destabilizing influence. Your Representative Monroe's tactics during first contact left many uneasy." She was proving a point. We wouldn't be bullied or dismissed, and in doing so, confirmed their worst fears about human unpredictability. Pelvorax moved to a cabinet and retrieved a small device. "Your pendant will be returned to you, but modified with this containment field. It will prevent any further neural interaction while we investigate." Ilara accepted the modified pendant, noting the subtle energy field now surrounding it. What about Dr. Renzi? That investigation continues. Pelvorax returned to his desk. You're dismissed, cadet. Report to your quarters until further notice. As Ilara left, she noticed something strange. The director had deliberately turned off the room's recording devices during their conversation. Why would he do that unless he was sharing information he didn't want others to know? Back in her quarters, she examined the modified pendant. The containment field glowed faintly blue, similar to the neural monitor on her wrist. On impulse, she held them close together. The reaction was immediate. Both fields flickered and momentarily synchronized before stabilizing again. A knock at her door interrupted her experiment. Opening it cautiously, she found a maintenance worker, a grizzled Eltharian with forearms and skin that resembled weathered stone. "Ventilation check," he grunted, loudly enough to be heard by any surveillance. Then he pressed a small data chip into her hand while pretending to examine the air filtration panel. "From your friends," he whispered. "Joro sends greetings." After he left, Ilara plugged the chip into her personal tablet, making sure to angle it away from the room's cameras. A single message appeared. Renzi was framed. "Check your pendant against Academy construction materials. Not unique. Meet us in maintenance shaft 7G at midnight. Security blind spot. Bring pendant." Dilara's heart pounded as the implications became clear. If her unique pendant contained the same materials as parts of the Academy itself, then someone had been lying about its origins and significance. The scanner blazed. Earthborn, handle with care. Part 4. Part 4 Maintenance Shaft. 7G ran between the Academy's power distribution center and the lesser-used secondary laboratories. The narrow corridor hummed with the vibration of nearby machinery, masking whispers and footsteps alike. Ilara pressed herself against the wall as a security drone passed by the main corridor, then slipped through the access hatch her friends had left unlocked. Inside the cramped maintenance room, Dave and Talon and Vox waited alongside a stocky, four-armed Eltharian she assumed was Joro. A portable dampening field generator hummed in the corner, creating a small zone free from surveillance. "We have 19 minutes before the security sweep changes pattern," Davin said without greeting. Joro confirmed what we suspected. The maintenance worker nodded, his stone-like face set in grim lines. "The material in your pendant matches components in the oldest sections of the Academy, specifically the quantum communications array and certain sections of the council chamber itself." "Precursor technology?" Ilara whispered. "Indeed," rumbled Joro. "I've spent decades studying these materials unofficially. The Academy was built upon the ruins of a precursor outpost. Much of the advanced technology that powers this facility isn't fully understood, merely repurposed." Talon's feathers ruffled with agitation. "That information is classified at the highest levels. Even most council members don't know. Which explains the reaction to your pendant." Vox's containment suit pulsed with thoughtful colors. "The question is, how did such material end up on Earth centuries ago? And why frame Dr. Renzi now?" added Ilara. "The timing feels deliberate." Joro placed a small device on the table, projecting a holographic timeline. 3 significant events coincide with the accusations against Dr. Renzi. First, the annual council budget review, where funding for Academy research is determined. Second, the scheduled arrival of the second group of human students next month. Third, he paused meaningfully, the return of the deep space exploration vessel Horizon from the uncharted regions beyond Sector 87. "I don't understand the connection," Ilara said. "The Horizon was rumored to be searching for additional precursor sites," explained Davin. "If they found something that connects to humans or Earth, then discrediting humans becomes crucial to whoever wants to control that information." Ilara finished, the pieces falling into place. "We believe Admiral Koros is involved," Talon said quietly. "His species, the Ardari, have been the primary beneficiaries of Academy research funding for the past century. Human admission threatened their dominance," Joro nodded. "The Admiral has made 3 unauthorized visits to the quantum communications hub in the past week. Each time, security recordings were conveniently corrupted. We need proof," Ilara said firmly. "Suspicions won't be enough." Vox's containment suit shifted to a determined red hue. "That's where your pendant comes in. The containment field Pelvorax added has a unique signature. one that can be detected by certain Academy systems. Systems designed to track precursor technology. You want to use me as bait? Alara realized. More as a key, corrected Davin. There's a restricted database terminal in Laboratory 12 that monitors all precursor-based technology within the Academy. With your pendant's signature, we can access it without triggering alarms. And if we're wrong, if this is discovered, then I lose my position. These cadets face expulsion, and you confirm every suspicion about dangerous humans, Joro said bluntly. The risk is substantial. Alara weighed her options. Doing nothing meant allowing Dr. Renzi to be falsely accused, and potentially ending human participation in the Academy. A diplomatic disaster that could set Earth's galactic standing back decades. Acting meant risking everything on an unauthorized investigation based largely on speculation. The choice was clear. I'll do it, she said. How do we get access to Laboratory 12? The plan was audacious. Using Joro's maintenance credentials, Alara would enter the laboratory during third shift, when minimal staff were present. The others would create a diversion in a different section, drawing security attention away. Once inside, she would use her pendant to access the restricted database and download whatever information connected to either her pendant or the Horizon expedition. They had just 19 hours to prepare. The following night, Alara made her way through deserted corridors, dressed in a maintenance uniform with a tool belt that concealed both her pendant and a data extraction device Vox had programmed. In her ear, a tiny communicator kept her connected to her friends. Security patrols diverted, came Davin's voice. You have approximately 8 minutes before they realize the atmospheric anomaly in Section 4 is false. Laboratory 12's entrance required both identification and biometric confirmation. Joro had provided the access card, but the biometric scanner presented a problem. Maintenance override protocol. Alara spoke clearly to the door panel. Authorization Gamma 63. To her surprise and relief, the panel beeped acceptance. Joro's override worked, she whispered into her communicator. Don't get comfortable, Talon's voice warned. That buys you entry, but internal systems will still track your movements. The laboratory beyond was dark except for the glow of monitoring equipment. Unlike the teaching labs, this space was filled with advanced technology, much of it clearly designed for analysis rather than instruction. At the far end stood a cylindrical terminal, its surface etched with unfamiliar patterns. I see the terminal, Alara reported, approaching now. As she drew near, the patterns began to glow faintly. She removed her pendant from its concealment, hesitating only briefly before deactivating the containment field. Immediately, a strange sensation washed over her, a heightened awareness similar to what she had experienced before, but stronger. The terminal's patterns brightened in response to the pendant's proximity. It's working, she whispered. The terminal is reacting. Placing the pendant against the terminal's surface, Alara felt rather than heard an acknowledgement from the system. Holographic displays sprang to life around her, showing information in both standard galactic script and another older language she couldn't read. I'm connected, but I don't understand most of this. Initiating data extraction. As Vox's device began copying the information, Alara scanned what she could comprehend. References to Earth appeared repeatedly, alongside terms like genetic potential and controlled development. One section showed a star map with Earth's solar system prominently marked, alongside several other systems she didn't recognize. Alara. Davin's urgent voice came through the communicator. Security patterns have changed. Someone's overridden the diversion protocol. Get out now. Before she could respond, the laboratory door slid open. Light flooded the room and Admiral Koro stepped through, flanked by 2 security officers. Cadet Jackson, he said, unsurprised. Or should I say Specimen Terran Alpha? How convenient that you've saved us the trouble of bringing you here ourselves. Alara snatched the pendant from the terminal, but not before noticing one final piece of information. A classified report titled, Horizon Expedition Findings, Terran Origin Site Confirmed. You knew, she accused, backing away slowly. You knew about Earth's connection to the precursors all along. Of course, Koros replied coldly. Why do you think your species was kept isolated for so long? Quarantined until we could determine whether the experiment had succeeded or failed? Experiment? Alara felt sick. What are you talking about? Your entire species, Cadet Jackson. The precursors didn't just visit Earth. They created humans as they created many species. But yours was special, designed with specific genetic potential that could be activated under the right conditions. The security officers moved to flank her, neural disruptors drawn. The Council feared what would happen if humans discovered their true origins and potential too soon. Koros continued. Most argued for continued quarantine. A few, like Director Pelvorax, believed controlled exposure was the safer approach. And the Horizon expedition found proof of this? Koros smiled thinly. It found much more than that. It found living precursors. The revelation hit Alara like a physical blow. That's impossible. They disappeared millennia ago, so we believed. We were wrong. Koros gestured to his officers. Take her to containment. Full isolation protocols. No communication. As the officers approached, Alara clutched her pendant tightly. The sensation of heightened awareness surged again, stronger than before. She could sense the officers' determination, Koros's cold calculation, and, unexpectedly, someone else approaching the laboratory. The doors slid open again. Director Pelvorax entered, accompanied by Dr. Renzi and a contingent of Council security forces. Admiral Koros, Pelvorax announced formally. You are relieved of duty pending investigation for falsification of evidence, unauthorized access to restricted systems, and conspiracy against Council interests. Koros's face contorted with rage. You fool. The humans cannot be allowed to learn the truth. They're not ready. That decision is not yours to make, Pelvorax replied evenly. The Council has voted. Full disclosure protocols are now in effect. The scanner blazed. Earthborn, handle with care. Part 5. Part 5. The Galactic Council chamber had never been this crowded. Representatives from all member worlds packed the tiered seating, with additional viewers following the proceedings via quantum-linked broadcasts. The 7 High Counselors sat in solemn formation, their diversity of form reflecting the variety of life throughout known space. In the center of the chamber, Ilara stood alongside 3 figures, Dr. Mila Renzi, Director Pelvorax, and the being now known publicly as the Precursor Envoy. 2 weeks had passed since the revelations in Laboratory 12. 2 weeks of intense diplomacy and preparation for this historic moment. High Counselor Vex Thar raised his massive scaled hand for silence. This emergency session of the Galactic Council will now commence. We face an unprecedented situation that requires careful consideration of all perspectives. The Precursor Envoy stepped forward. Despite having met with countless officials since emerging from isolation, the being's appearance still caused a ripple of awe through the chamber. Its luminescent skin shifted through subtle patterns that somehow conveyed emotional states beyond mere coloration. I speak for those you have named precursors, it began, its voice resonating not just through the air but seemingly within the minds of all present. We who seeded life throughout this galaxy, nurturing evolutionary patterns across thousands of worlds. We who retreated from active participation to observe from afar as our creations developed independently. The chamber remained utterly silent. Captivated. Humanity was indeed our final project before withdrawal, the envoy continued, designed with capabilities that would emerge gradually, tested through environmental and social pressures that would either break them or forge them into something extraordinary. Ilara felt the weight of countless eyes upon her, standing as the living embodiment of this experiment. Their potential exceeds our projections, the envoy stated. Their adaptability, creativity, and resilience surprised even us. When they achieved faster-than-light travel despite their isolation, we recognized it was time to consider re-establishment of contact. Director Pelvorax stepped forward. The Council acknowledges the Precursor's role in galactic development. However, the immediate concern is the status of humanity given these revelations. Dr. Renzi nodded in agreement. Earth's governments have been briefed on the situation. Their response has been measured but firm. Humanity demands equal standing within galactic society, regardless of our origins. Counselor Drelax clicked her mandibles skeptically. Equal standing? When your species was specifically engineered with capabilities that could potentially destabilize established order. The adaptive neural pathways alone represent a security concern. Every species in this chamber was engineered to some degree. The envoy reminded them gently. Humans simply represent our most ambitious design, one with the potential to eventually match or exceed our own capabilities. This statement caused visible discomfort among many representatives. Ilara stepped forward, her academy uniform crisp and formal. "If I may address the council?" Vexithar nodded permission, his 4 eyes studying her intently. "For generations, humans believed we were alone in the universe," Ilara began. "We developed our societies, our technologies, our understanding of reality, without external guidance. Learning our origins doesn't change who we are or what we've accomplished. Through our own efforts." She touched the pendant at her throat, now understood to be a monitoring device left by the precursors centuries ago to track human development. "This revelation doesn't make us less deserving of respect or more dangerous than before. It simply provides context for capabilities we're only beginning to understand." She surveyed the chamber confidently. "The scanner labeled me Earthborn. Handle with care. Not because I'm inherently dangerous, but because I represent something unknown. Isn't exploration of the unknown the foundation of your academy and this council itself?" A murmur of reluctant agreement rippled through the assembly. "The precursors may have created us," Ilara continued, "but we created ourselves too, through countless generations of struggle, discovery, and perseverance. Whatever potential we possess, we've earned the right to develop it openly, as equals in galactic society." The precursor envoy inclined its head slightly, a gesture of approval that didn't escape notice. "There is another matter to address," interjected Admiral Trell, who had replaced Koros as Academy Security Chief. "The imminent arrival of the second group of human students. Given current circumstances, security protocols must be established. What do you propose?" asked Counselor Vexthar. "Continuation of the Academy Integration Program, but with enhanced monitoring and specialized training to help humans understand and control their emerging capabilities." Trell glanced at Ilara. "Cadet Jackson has demonstrated that cooperation yields better results than isolation or restriction." Director Pelvorax added, "I propose the establishment of a joint research initiative with equal participation from human scientists and academy specialists to study the development of these capabilities in a controlled, transparent environment." The debate continued for hours, with representatives arguing passionately about security concerns, research opportunities, and diplomatic implications. Through it all, Ilara remained standing in the center, a living symbol of humanity's potential and the complex questions it raised. Finally, Vexthar called for a formal vote. The results appeared as glowing tallies above the central platform, a narrow majority in favor of continued human integration with enhanced monitoring protocols. "The Council has decided," Vexthar announced. "Earth will maintain its status as a probationary member world. Human cadets will continue their education at the Academy, under the supervision of the newly established Human Potential Research Division and," he paused, "significantly, preparations will begin for formal diplomatic relations with the returning precursors." As the session adjourned, the chamber filled with the buzz of conversations in hundreds of languages. Ilara found herself surrounded by her friends, Davin, Talon, Vox, and others who had stood by her through the crisis. "Congratulations, Diplomat Jackson," Talon chirped, his feathered crest rising in celebration. "I'm still just a cadet," Ilara protested. "Not anymore," said Dr. Renzi, approaching with a data tablet. "Earth's Diplomatic Corps has requested your immediate reassignment as junior liaison to the precursor delegation. Director Pelvorax has already approved the transfer from the Academy." Ilara blinked in surprise. "But my training isn't complete." "Some lessons can't be taught in classrooms," Renzi said with a smile. "Your experiences have prepared you for this role better than any curriculum. There's something else you should know," Davin added, his voice lowered. "The neural monitoring data from your pendant has been analyzed. Your psionic capabilities aren't just theoretical anymore. They've begun active development, and you're not the only human showing these signs. The implications were staggering." "How many?" "Scattered reports worldwide," Renzi confirmed. "Mostly adolescents and young adults. Something is accelerating the process, possibly exposure to Academy technology or simply awareness of the potential itself." The precursor envoy joined their circle, its presence immediately commanding attention. This was anticipated, it said. The final stage of development often accelerates once contact is re-established. You planned this all along, Alara realized. Our admission to the Academy, the scanner's results, even Admiral Koros's conspiracy, they all pushed events toward this moment. We create conditions, the envoy corrected gently. You determined the outcomes through your own choices. That was always the test. And did we pass? Alara asked boldly. The envoy's skin pulsed with what she now recognized as amusement. You continue to pass with every decision you make. The moment humans chose cooperation over conflict, diplomacy over isolation, you demonstrated why you were worth the millennia of patience. Later, as the delegation prepared to depart for Earth, Alara stood at a viewport overlooking the Academy. The massive structure gleamed against the backdrop of space, no longer just a center of learning but a nexus of transformation, for humanity and the galaxy alike. Director Pelvorax joined her, his ancient eyes reflecting the starlight. Your next challenge begins now, Liaison Jackson. Helping humanity navigate this transition will require all your diplomatic skill. And what about the cadets who sneered at me? Alara asked. What happens when more humans arrive with the same potential? I suspect the sneering will stop, Pelvorax said dryly. Fear often masks itself as contempt. As understanding grows, so will acceptance. And the handle with care warning? Pelvorax considered this. Some warnings are meant not to instill fear but to inspire respect. Powerful things require careful handling, not because they're inherently dangerous, but because their potential is too valuable to waste through carelessness. Alara touched her pendant, feeling the subtle energy that now seemed to flow naturally between it and her.